a person from the people of the book, from the Bani Israel, came to the Muslim community, and Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam was present in that sitting. And please recite salawat. That person said sort of mockingly that, Ya ma'ashar al-Muslimin, O Muslims, ما دفنتم نبيكم حتى اختلفتم فيه. You have barely buried your prophet, and already you have differences and divisions about your prophet. And on the surface, that might have been a fair question. But Imam Ali was the only one who responded. He said, لم نختلف فيه وإنما اختلفنا عنه. We don't have differences about the Prophet. We have differences about what is to take place after the Prophet. Our differences are not about his being a prophet and about the Quran that he brought and about the message of monotheism that he brought. Our differences are about what comes after that and the effects of that. The Imam was not downplaying the importance of those differences. What the Imam was saying is that let us not lose sight of proportion. If you look at the differences of Bani Israel, then between the different sects of Judaism and the different schools of thought within Islam, within Christianity, and among the Jews and Christians, they cannot agree on whether the Sharia of the prophets of Bani Israel is to be practiced or it has been abandoned altogether. They cannot agree on whether the worship that was performed by the Anbiya of Bani Israel is to be preserved in its original form, or whether a different form of worship, different holidays, different days of remembrance are to be substituted in. If you look at the divisions among the early Christian schools of thought, they couldn't agree about the nature of Jesus Christ and whether he was divine or whether he was human, and what was his relationship to Allah, who is the creator of heavens and the earth. All of these differences are very fundamental and very basic, and they prevent any form of discussion or unity or even forming a single community. And that is what we see throughout history, that in many cases they were not able to come together except in the face of an external enemy. Otherwise, there was very little basis for unity among them. So Imam Ali, he says that in reality, إِنَّمَا اخْتَلَفْنَا عَنْهُ, we have disputed about the implications of the teachings of the Prophet, and yes, we have a dispute. There's to be no whitewashing and saying that all Muslims are together and we are all happy with one another and we have no disagreements about the nature of Islamic teachings. Then the Imam says, وَلَكِنْ أَنْتُمْ مَا جَفَّتْ أَقْدَامُكُمْ مِنَ الْبَحْرِ حَتَّى قُلْتُمْ لِنَبِيِّكُمْ اجْعَلُوا لَنَا إِلَهًا كَمَا لَهُمْ آلِهَةً. And the Imam, he gave another answer that put things in perspective for them. He said that when your Prophet saved you miraculously from Fir'aun and his people, your feet were barely dry from having crossed the sea, when you said to your Prophet, make for us an idol like these people have an idol. That's a verse of Quran. So the Imam says, don't think that the Muslim Ummah, it doesn't have a basis to be united with one another. Even those Muslims who have a deficient concept of Tawheed, they do recite Surah Tawheed, and they do believe that although they ascribe a body to Allah, although they ascribe hands and feet to Allah, they say لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, and it cannot be compared to anything within creation. That is a deficient concept of Tawheed. And our Imams spent many, many years and generations in bringing to people a more complete and a more profound understanding of what Tawheed is. But even that minimum standard that we have among Muslims who are not appreciating what Tawheed means, they understand لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Allah is not a person, and Allah cannot be compared to a person. The same thing with regard to the Prophet. There are no Muslims who have denied the prophethood or the finality of the prophethood, or the infallibility of the Prophet in conveying the message of Allah, there are no Muslims who have raised the Prophet to the level of divinity or Godhead. That is a very solid basis for us to now, as a Muslim community, appreciate what we have that binds us.